again and welcome back, everyone. We are now reconvening our council meeting in the midst of our agenda here after a break for lunch and in-camera meeting. So we pick up our agenda at administrative motions, and this council, we just finished bylaw approvals. We don't have any administrative motions or motions on notice to address, so we go straight to notice of motions, new business, inquiries, and other matters. And we have one item in new business, which is a request for leave of absence for Councillor Reimer for any meetings to be held August 1st, 2nd, and September 18th, and for Councillor Stevenson for meetings to be held July the 18th. I have a mover. Yeah, September 19th and 20th, sorry, for Councillor Reimer. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Ball, Councillor Carr seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? That carries. Thank you. I just wanted to open in terms of new business and inquiries with a big thank you to our city staff who've been deployed to deal with the wildfires across the province. We're in an extraordinary and extremely difficult situation around the province with well over 10,000, I think we're at 16,000 the last I heard, British Columbians who have had to evacuate their homes. Obviously, it's mayhem in many communities around the province, and so our thoughts and prayers with those around the province who are dealing with the very difficult circumstances due to forest fire, and obviously we're keen to help in any way that we can here from City of Vancouver side of things, and also to encourage our residents to contribute through Canadian Red Cross and other causes who are supporting evacuees and those directly impacted by the forest fires. I just wanted to give our city manager an opportunity to update us on the latest in terms of deployment of city staff and coordination here at the city and around the region to support communities affected by the fires.
Thanks, Mayor and Council. So as you've indicated, we've offered up support to through EMBC, and we're coordinating pretty closely with them. We currently have 6 of our staff that are up there now. Our one from ESS that oversees our ESS program, Jackie Klustebor, I think you're familiar with her. She's been providing support on the emergency social services program that they're doing there. And then we've sent 6 yesterday that of our staff from the heavy urban search and rescue team to provide some specialized support. We are coordinating with, I have been in discussion with city managers across the Lower Mainland to coordinate how we're providing support. And we've provided a list of all of the equipment that we could provide, from cots to other things for evacuees. So we're doing what we can and have offered support, and will definitely be responsive to EMBC if they have other requests. So it's really all hands on deck. It's also a great learning opportunity for us, the magnitude of this emergency, to be learning from them and how people are responding, from everything from looting to evacuations to ESS for such a large number of people. So we're definitely going to treat it as a learning opportunity for our staff that are up there as well. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much for that update. And on to other new business, Councillor Louie.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do rise today in a bit of out of protocol because I'm rising today to recognize the passing of a city councillor in Toronto. Her name was Pam McConnell. She was served as an elected official since 1982, first on school board and then on council since 1994, this meaning 35 years of service to her community. I've had the pleasure of working with her at the FCM. She served since 1999 and has been a board member continuous since that period of time. And she was a strong advocate for affordable housing and an anti-poverty advocate. Led that charge for Toronto City Councillor, and frankly was a strong partner with us here in the City of Vancouver for the many things that we believe in here in Vancouver. And so it is a great detriment for all of us across Canada that we've lost this long-serving councillor and deputy mayor for the City of Toronto. I'd like to, on behalf of our council, send condolences to her family, to her daughters, and to her partner Jim, and hope that she is resting in peace.
Thank you, Councillor Louie. We will definitely all miss Pam. Councillor Reimer.
Thanks, Mayor Robertson. I had a inquiry to staff and also a couple things to share with council. The inquiry to staff is in relation to a rather quickly growing food delivery industry in Vancouver. I appreciate that there have been food that's been delivered for many years. This is in relation to companies whose sole business is delivery and are hiring self-employed contractors primarily on bikes to do the delivery. I, enjoy food being delivered. In fact, my child's joke about me is the best thing I ever taught them about cooking was how to dial a phone. So I can appreciate people like to have food delivered. I do, though, have concerns about increasingly seeing impacts on our transportation system, particularly the bikeways, concerns about these are quite young workers. They're working in a quite precarious situation, and in other jurisdictions where this has happened, UK was the first place to see this kind of delivery service, quite a sharp increase in injuries to young workers, and I have concerns about all of those issues. So I appreciate much of this doesn't fall under the city's purview, but I note that in the UK, in the span of 4 years, it went from 0 to 20,000 extra bikes on the road delivering food. So to understand what we might anticipate and try and get ahead of the curve, I'd be interested in looking at what do we know about it, what regulations could exist or do exist under the city's control. I know there are bike couriers already in the city who deliver cold items like letters and documents, but in this case, food, and where those opportunities might exist to expand that licensing category, as well as options for ensuring workers' safety by advocating to the province for protections for delivery, self-employed contractors doing delivery. Okay, the two items I did want to note for council. First one is the Vancouver International Soccer Festival celebrated its 13th year this year. It moved to Empire Fields a few years ago. A particular note this year, maybe rewind a bit, the soccer festival was founded to bring Palestinian and Israeli players to Canada, to bring them together to play, and to speak to the power of moving past politics into a universal language of soccer to help heal some of the conflicts in the world. This year they brought Team Tibet. It's the first time emotional game. It was the first time a women's team from Tibet had played internationally. It was actually a very happy occasion. I was very glad to be there, but it was really amazing to see the power of community coming together behind them. There were many tears, but also much celebration. The women were very grateful to the City of Vancouver, particularly the park board, to have this venue and this place to play, and to hear from people. There was a team of Syrian refugees who also played, and to hear from people coming from places where playing soccer is not something you take for granted. Last item, Carnaval del Sol this year. We had the closing event on Saturday and Sunday, the Carnival, but it's actually part of a much larger event, Latin American Week, which has now grown to include, they had 100,000 people out to events this year. So I wanted to thank all of council for being some of the initial supporters of that work. It means a lot to the Latin community to be able to share their culture, their food, their love of music and soccer. I got to play in an exciting soccer game with the consul generals from Latin America, and they did want me to pass on their thanks to council and to the mayor for the support over the years.
All right, thanks, Councillor Reimer. Councillor Carr.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just have three things. Two are inquiries. The other is just to make note that to congratulate those who were involved in the Canada Festival. It wasn't that well attended, but oh my goodness, what a great festival. And I understand it's going to be incorporated within the upcoming festival, Drums Calling. Drums are calling. And I would just encourage everybody to make sure they get out to those festivals and to get down to Larwell Park and see the exhibits of different house forms by different Indigenous peoples across Canada, and the storytelling and the educational, I think the educational piece of it was really exciting, let alone the First Nations arts and culture and opportunities to buy, which I somehow always end up doing. Just to encourage and to have people in our city encourage others to get down to those festivals. Secondly, I do have an inquiry regarding the proposed reconfigured Creekside Park in North Falls Creek. And I've had some people ask me, so I will ask if staff can provide me with a report back on the reconfigured park, which I'd like to know how, if, and how it varies in size from the originally proposed park, which was 9.06 acres, and particularly the loss of waterfront edge as opposed to the gain of waterfront edge by Concord Pacific. And just perhaps an analysis of the pros and cons of the reconfiguration in terms of public benefits. Thirdly, I also met with some individuals who are involved in the life sciences field within our city, and they remarked to me and questioned, so my question to staff, why the city wasn't present and hasn't been very much of a present in some of the trade missions. For example, there was a recent one from San Diego it was called the San Diego Trade Mission. Phoenix Molecular was one of the lead agencies. But anyway, they were talking about wanting to relocate, looking at Vancouver as a possibility. The city, and astonished that the city of Vancouver wasn't even present. Any representatives, neither from the Vancouver Economic Commission or of the city itself. So whether there was a reason for that, but I thought I would raise it and find out, because they were talking about over 1,000 jobs being associated with a head office or a major office location somewhere here, and they were checking us out.
May I speak to that, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to as well.
Okay. Do you want to go first? Or?
Well, I did meet and speak with the mayor of San Diego, who was also here in Vancouver with the delegation, and the Vancouver Economic Commission was heavily involved in the work, the economic development work, to do with that visit by the delegation from San Diego. So, and we're looking at planning a trip to San Diego to connect as well down there. So
that is good news.
I'm not sure where the gap was with that specific company, but definitely good to follow up with me and the VEC.
Excellent. Okay, that is very good to know, and I will relay that information.
Okay.
Yeah, just to reiterate that, I mean, I was personally involved with the planning of the event. We had our protocol office very involved. We had staff very involved. The VEC was integrally involved in the planning of the entire thing. We had city councilors that attended some of the events, I believe. And our staff were involved. So we host delegations all the time, and we try to get the right staff in those rooms to meet with those people, with the right people. In that particular instance, VEC is really the representative of the city, and where they see an opportunity to bring a company here, they would then set up separate meetings with staff to pursue that, whether it's from a real estate perspective or other angles. And so we are all very actively involved with it, and see it as a good opportunity, I think, as the mayor said, for follow-up with a potential trip there, too.
That's great. I will follow up with emails to make sure that the information gets back to the individuals who questioned me about this, because I'd like to make sure that they get the information and are not continue to be, I'm going to say, misinformed. I don't know. They were present there, but certainly not obviously cognizant of the degree to which we were involved, and I would appreciate that information. That's fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Reimer, did you have more?
Just to also say, I think Mayor Robertson, you had to be away for one of the days, so I did spend a day with them. So if you wanted to include me on that, that would be great. Apparently a low impact day for at least one member, but it was a large delegation, so it's possible we just didn't. Yeah.
Okay, looks like that's all for new business inquiries and other matters. We just need a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded. All those in favor of adjournment? Any opposed? That carries. This meeting is adjourned, and we're back here at 6 p.m. this evening for a public hearing. Have a good afternoon.